First, I installed the disc brake. I had to use Allen keys to take these screws out, and then install the disc brake, and then just make sure that the disc brake is installed the proper way. There's an arrow pointing in the direction of the spin of the wheel. Next, it's fitting in the whole wheel with the motor, so just be careful here that you don't hurt yourself. I just normally pull back the derailleur and then fit the wheel, and then I put the two washers on the inside of the frame. And then I put the washer with the pin that slides into the slot on first, and then the nut, same on the other side. You can see there's the pin, so it slots directly into the frame of the wheel. And then I use the nut, and then just be careful not to cross the thread. And then use a spanner or a shifter to get this neatly tightened. And then here's the kit. So there's the controller, there's the cable that connects the controller to the motor, and there's your peripheral cable that connects to your display, throttle and your brakes. And there are your brake handles, throttle. There's rubbers that came with the display. And here is your display. It's got the controller as well. It's got 3 buttons on the controller. And then it's just neatening up the cables with some cable ties. And then there's some arrows on the connectors. So just make sure that the arrows align, because they only fit in one way. So there's an arrow on one, an arrow on the other side, and then you just neatly fit them in. This is the battery that I'm using. It's a 36 volt 10 amp hour. So the bag that I got with it does not fit my frame because of that shock absorber. So I just made a temporary fix. I used some tape to get it on, and I also used cable ties to get it in there firmly so that I know that it's not coming loose. Whoops, that does happen from time to time. Just make sure when you install the battery and the controller that they are close enough so that they can connect, because the battery powers the controller, and then the controller powers your motor and connects to your peripherals like throttle, brakes, your PAS, which is your pedal assist, and then also your display. So you want to tie your cables in such a way that it doesn't affect any moving parts. It's not close to any moving parts, because that could be disastrous. Next, we install our pedal assist. So here you have to take out your crank arm, and this you use an Allen key, and then you get a crank arm puller. You fasten the crank removal tool, and then you tighten it. Next you tighten the front part, so this accent pulls out the crank, and this was tough. I struggled with this. I had to make use of a hammer. Luckily, after a couple of minutes of struggle, I managed to get it out, and then it's basically simple after that. You install the pedal assist. It fits in nicely there. Make sure that the pedals can spin and that the pedal assist cable can remain firm. Put the pedal back in the opposite direction of the one on the other side. And then put the bolt back, fasten it. The pedal assist connects directly to the controller. And here basically is taking off the brake. I just kept the brake on there, the old one, moved it to the inside because it has the shifter on it. Next I attached the display. Tried using the rubbers and it didn't fit. So I just took the rubbers off and put it on, but it was a bit loose, so I used handy dandy cable ties to get it on. The cable ties worked perfectly, kept it nice and firm. And then I just put the control on the other side. That's for switching on the display. And here I took off the handlebar. And then it's installing the throttle and then also the brake. And then I installed the handlebar back, and then he's just fastening all of them. For me to install the brake, I had to loosen the brake cable at the back. This is now where the motor is. Slot it in, fasten it. And then you can fasten the cable again. Just put some tension in there. And then also I had the issue where my disc brake wasn't aligned. I had to take off the whole brake and then just play with it a bit to get it aligned until I was satisfied. And here basically it's just wiring up the cables so that it doesn't come into contact with any moving parts. I had to twist it around the frame just to get rid of all the excess cable, and then use cable ties where appropriate and just fasten everything. That is something that one can figure out by themselves. Then it's just neatening everything up, cutting the cable ties, making sure that there's no wires or cables that's in the way of the moving parts. This can be your wheel, your chain, your pedals. So just make sure that they are out of the way. And then it came to the moment of truth, testing. Switching on the display, putting it on a pass setting, and then using the throttle. So there we go, the wheel spins. Then testing the brake, I also put it on different settings and I was totally satisfied with all of this. I had my first trip, and when I got on the bike, it was such an unreal feeling when the motor kicked in. I had so much fun and it was so exciting to do this. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Thank you guys for watching.